And welcome back. As we mentioned earlier, our first two segments are with the new Belize City Council, the victors from yesterday's municipal elections here in the old capital. We have been joined by returning Mayor Bernard Wagner. To his left is returning Councillor Kaya Katus, and to her left is a newcomer, a new face to the Belize City Council as a councillor, and not necessarily as an employee, and the right-hand man of Bernard Wagner, right? Yeah. We have Elude Miller. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
And of course, to his left, we also have returning councillor, my good friend Edmond Kwan. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Good morning.
Congratulations. You guys went above and beyond in terms of ensuring that you have a place at City Hall. What is the vibe like with you guys this morning? Let's start with you, Mayor. You were the last person I saw last night. You're the first person I've seen.
Yeah, you know how it goes, man. It has been rough yesterday, but we as a team, I have to thank the residents of the city first of all on the voter turnout, coming out to support the team. Our team has worked pretty hard in the city. We have been one of the council that have really put in both the work in respect to social, physical infrastructure. We plan to continue along those same veins. And man, it was very exciting to really see the people, and we are so appreciative of their support.
Yeah. Kaya?
Like I have to echo the sentiments of the mayor. We are grateful and appreciative of the voter turnout of the residents yesterday. I mean, it shows that they are happy with the work that we have been doing at the Belize City Council, in the manner in which we won at the polls yesterday. I mean, it is very gratifying to know that the work that you are putting in, the work that you are doing on a daily basis, I mean, this is the reward at the polls.
As a newcomer, Elu, and not even as a newcomer, because like I said, you've been on the ground for a while. You've been working at City Hall, but for your first election, and I know you've been campaigning very hard. What was it feeling like campaigning, and now that you've actually won your seat?
Well, yesterday was a very exciting day for me. I feel like it was a culmination of all the hard work that we've been doing on the ground over the past couple of months. I must take this opportunity to thank all the party machinery, our party leader, deputy party leader, our party chairman, right down to the campaigners. They really made it a bit smoother for us. They were out there with us again yesterday, right, helping us to meet those people who we didn't get an opportunity to meet in their homes. But yes, overall yesterday was a very exciting day for me. I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of our residents at the various polling stations, so we kind of had to spread ourselves thin. We had about 29 polling stations across the city, right? But it was exciting, and it was a new experience for me, one that I have come to cherish, and one that I'm grateful for the outcome, right? So I must thank our Belize City residents for believing in our vision and for supporting the entire team.
You're in a different capacity now, though. As a councillor-elect, you have a mandate that you're equally responsible for, along with your colleagues around this table and the others who are part of the Belize City Council. From I first met you a couple of years ago, you were working directly with Mayor Wagner, and in a sense I've seen you evolve in your various roles at City Hall, but this seat at the table puts you directly responsible for a portfolio, right?
Yeah.
How prepared are you for that kind of an assignment?
I would say I'm the most prepared I could be. I have worked very closely with all the previous council members, right? I've worked closely with Councillor Kwan, Councillor Katus, and I have great knowledge as it relates to the mandate of the council, what is expected of the council, and the various portfolios, right? And I feel that working closely with the mayor, of course, the mayor kind of oversees all the portfolios, and so I have had the ability to gain good insight into what it is that we need to do in those respective portfolios. And so I feel that I am in a good position to serve well. I think that it will certainly benefit me that I'm going into it having had the experience of working inside the council at that administrative level, no? And so I'm prepared. I feel that I'm capable and I have the drive to take on the task. So I think I'll be good. Yeah.
And speaking of portfolios, and now that we have Mr. Kwan and Ms. Katus on the set, I want to talk about, now that you've been re-elected, how do you plan to move forward with your portfolios, or are you getting new ones? How is it going to work now in this particular slate?
Perhaps there's a reassignment.
Perhaps there's a reassignment, but the work not done, we may want to get elected so that we continue the work, right?
Correct.
Let's hear from you, Mr.
Hi, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the party, the supporters, all the residents of Belize City that came out and vote. I mean, you really practice the democratic right. Really appreciate it. As my colleagues say, that we're spread thin, very thin. We can't meet all the residents and meet and greet and whatever. But I apologize that because it was a long day yesterday. It was a very, very hectic day. We're trying trying to get as much votes in, no? And I really appreciate it, and thank you to all. Thanks to the party and the city residents.
Mayor Wagner, this serves as sort of a reset, but for you, it's your third bite at the apple, so to speak.
Yeah.
What are you prepared for? Aside from your mandate and the fulfillment of that mandate, what are you most looking forward to this third time around?
Well, I'm very, very thankful for the team that has been put together in respect to the expertise that we have now. In the past, we used to have many of the councillors coming in who were really could not appreciate the role of being a councillor, not understand what the role of a councillor is. I believe having 5 people coming back, and then we have 5 new ones coming in, with Elud essentially knowing the rules and how you move motions and get a motion into the caucus is important. So we have less of the not knowing type of environment, but more a knowing type environment, so that we could move things faster for the residents of the city. We have a huge mandate, obviously. Clearly on the numbers that you are seeing that came out, it was a huge mandate, and so the people are saying we want to stay on track, we want to continue the huge development all across the city. We want to see economic development, we want to see physical development. We can't forget our social mandate as well, but also working in tandem with the national government will pay huge dividends for us as we continue. Those streets that you see right now are in the pipeline, those can't stop. We are committed to ensuring the continued development of the city, reaching a point where if you are able to achieve your manifesto in terms of 100+ streets we were able to do in 1 year. In our manifesto we are stating we want to do 200 more streets. So we want to reach the point where most of the streets in the city are decent, and people are able to traverse. The kids are not walking in water when going to schools. There's smooth flow of traffic. We have to understand the impact of climate change that is upon us, but embrace the opportunities that comes with it. And so I am really optimistic about these 3 years and the huge opportunity for the city to really take on a surge of development.
I have another question that I want to put to Kaya and to Edmond, seeing as though they're both returning councillors. How do you remain grounded in a situation where if I, as an outsider, were looking at what was happening in the previous council, where you have all of these personalities, and when things don't go well or in their favor, they go to social media or they create a stink, and then we end up as reporters looking back and says, hey, this is what's happening at City Hall.
Yeah.
Not all of you took that route. Some of you kept your heads down and kept working.
Yeah.
How do you remain grounded in an environment like that?
Well, for me, Sani, I believe that when you go to the residents and you ask them for their support to conduct the business of local government, when you get the opportunity to actually sit at the table, that is what you have to do, conduct the business of local government. Getting caught up in the personalities and all the things that were happening, for me, was, I definitely didn't want to be a part of it. It's not to say that, yes, we had our differences at the table, but I think that even with that, as a council, we still came together and we still did the job of the council.
Yourself, Edmond?
Well, I believe that when that is what makes us better. When we have different minds together, different ideas, and we brainstorm. But at the end of the day, we look at our manifesto and we say, you know what, we need to fulfill this. So which way is the best way to fulfill our manifesto, our promises to the people, no?
I wanted to take a different route because I was looking at this slate there and I couldn't help but wonder why we only have 2 women on the slate. I'm sorry, I have to take that route, right? Because I'm looking at, and I mean, Kaya has been on the show many times to talk about women empowerment, and we've seen it time and time again where we don't have as many women that run for politics. And as a person that is still in the rink, Kaya, how do we continue to build this momentum for our women in politics? You're still here. You have Stephanie now that's on your slate, but now you are in a field surrounded by men once again. How are we building this momentum for our girls in politics?
So in order to get on the ballot, we had to first go through a convention, and we had a number of women contesting that convention. For whatever reasons, only Ms. Stefan and myself were successful.
Yeah.
I think in the previous council we had 4 women at the table,
Yes.
and now we're down to 2. However, I think the work that Stefan and I have been able to put in has been significant enough to, at this point, make up the women at the council. And I think that together we will ensure that women are heard and we have a rightful voice at the table.
Yeah, if I could add a comment on that, it is a bit unfortunate, as Kaya said, that we only have 2 females on our slate now, but if you look at the national level now, I think we had 22 females going on PUP ballots yesterday, right, to the polls, out of 67 representatives, and so that is just over 33%. So I think it's a good look for us. The party constitution, I think, calls for 30% female representative, and so while Belize City didn't meet that threshold, did for us. So it's a work in progress, and we will continue working towards it.
Yeah, I quickly want to say too, we continue to be a council where action, women, and participation. Look at our the Youth Shadow Council.
Yeah.
We have had many collaboration with international organization in really promoting women in politics. I've been a bit disappointed actually in not having the number of women on our slate. That is my view, obviously. I think during my 6 years I had always wanted to champion that a woman be our deputy mayor. And so I will be the first one to toot my horn. I want a woman to be my deputy mayor this time around. So I'm taking it out already.
With the party.
Ability to vote. But I really support a woman. We need a woman to be somewhere along that line, and I'm championing it. I don't know what the results may be, but
so that's the thing with the democratic process.
Yeah,
right?
because then I wanted to kind of piggyback on that, asking you how did it feel to be campaigning with an opponent that was probably going to be the next female mayor of Belize City?
No, I always tell people running against a woman is always tough, right? Because I hold women in such high regard, and I try to run a clean campaign. I've never tried to speak ill of the female opponent. I believe she represented her party. The people have spoken. The people said, I want to stay Patriotic with Mayor Wagner and his team. But the fact of the matter is, really running against a female opponent is always tough, right? Because I always champion women. I was really down when we came from 4 candidates from the last group to 2. And so we continue to work towards it. We don't want it to be a situation of token women leadership, but rather of added value women leadership. It is important that we just don't say, oh, I have 6 women on my slate, but it's when it comes to the table for the decision making, they are not part of the decision making. It has to be added value. What do they bring to the table and the value they bring?
I'm going to stick a pin in that because we do have to take a quick break. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll talk more with our newly elected city council. Don't go away.
I show my love for Belize.
I show my love for Belize.
I show my love for Belize.
I show love for Belize.
I show my love for Belize.
I show my love for Belize.
I show my love for Belize by putting trash in its proper place.
By making sure people enjoy it sustainably.
By wearing my patriotic colors.
By flying our flag.
I show my love for my country by staying up to date on current events.
By being a responsible consumer, buying local, and when I can't use a reusable shopping bag.
By celebrating its heroes.
I show love for my country by speaking about issues that I care about.
By volunteering and helping others, not only myself.
I show my love of country by showcasing culture and traditions to people all over the world.
By obeying laws and advocating for better ones.
I show love for my country by voting.
How do you show your love for Belize? Be an active citizen. Vote.
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 Vote. Vote.
Vote.
And welcome back. We are continuing our conversation with the members of the newly elected or re-elected Belize City Council. I've made the introductions of all the persons around the table. I'm not going to go through that again. What I want to do, nonetheless, is to carry on with a line of questioning that I initially began.
Yes.
For you, Mayor Wagner, this, and of course the other 5 returning councillors, it's a continuum, right? Where in your case, it's a 9-year term you would be looking at.
Yeah.
The others perhaps vary, right? Nonetheless, some of the concerns and challenges carry over because it's a continuum. You perhaps from your first term have seen and heard certain concerns being brought forward. You may not have been able to tackle it then, you probably were able to address it in the second term. And some of these concerns are now carrying over into your third term. I'm thinking perhaps that when you set out to say, I am going to create a plan, you weren't thinking of a 9-year plan.
Yeah.
Right?
Kind of just rolled over a little bit. Yeah.
But so too are some of those challenges and concerns. They roll over.
Yeah.
How do you plan to address that? I don't know if this will be your last hurrah in municipal office, but some of these very same issues are still present and pertinent today.
Yeah, you have to look at evaluations and assessment of performance of the various departments, right? We have over 21 departments, different services all across the city. And so as the mayor, I'm constantly in line with my managers who are the administrative staff, and we look at what we have on the manifesto, and we look at the expertise we have and who is best fit to drive those type of development, to drive those programs, so that at the end of the day we get the outcomes we want. And so it is in that context, right, that I would look at, say, a counselor for sanitation and try to get the best fit. Right, you want that experience, as well you want the continuity, and ensuring that there is synergy amongst between the manager and the councillor. I always tell my councillors that we serve as a board. We serve as a board. Once you are able to understand that you serve as a board, and that you bring your various motions to the caucus and you have them debated, and if they are approved, then the administrator takes it from there to the various departments and have it executed. Now it is your job as a councillor to now follow up and challenge those managers through the city administrator on the progress of those projects or whatever. So I am looking forward to ensuring that we have the continuity in respect to our various portfolios, but ensuring that the assessments was done, and if there are need to move things around, we look at it.
What would you say have been some of the overall feedback from the persons that either voted for you or didn't vote for you in that respect, when it came to community issues, not necessarily infrastructure? We've talked a lot about infrastructure, but things like the electric buses, the parking meters, and so forth. Are you going to shift gears in how you handle certain mandates this time around?
It will be a mix, and we have to discuss it at the council level first. But those components are all a part of our wider vision of a smart city. The parking meters, the smart parking facilities, the taxis, the buses, the network in respect to the route. Those are all a part of this ecosystem, so to speak, that we are building, and we are really enthusiastic about that program. But at the other end of the spectrum, we also have areas that we have not done so well in, right? And in our manifesto, it speaks to it that, listen, we have to get back to some of the basics. And if, as I sit here, I believe that we have kind of not been at optimum in respect to the grass cutting, the shaping of drains, having those drains connect properly with culverts, and connecting into the canals, and then the canals into the rivers into the sea. So I have to look at this from a wide view, that the current system that we have has failed us, right? So we have to go back. I need a plan. And I'm looking at more GIS, using the resources of GIS to really map out the entire city in grids, so that we have designated teams in the different grids, which will have probably a group of grass cutters, patching of street, a drainage team. And so when we look at the grid and someone report in grid 10, that's this team here, there's a pothole, you know who is held accountable.
You could address it immediately.
So the system has to be changed, and that is what I really want to implement in respect to all the basics, because we are not doing good. And I said it in my message to the people, that we have a lot of things left undone that we want to sharp up.
One of my concerns, and this is more so as a resident of this beautiful city of ours, is that there's so much activity taking place at various levels, right? And so while there is a tourism boom this year, while there were elections, while there are all these activities that we plan over the 12-month period, Belize City remains sort of dirty, right? So while, yes, we're making money and we're invested and what have you, we have teams from the Belize City Council, Belize Waste Control that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I'm not taking anything away from that. It just seems as if though we're perennially creating garbage and we're not mindful of being able to maintain Belize City as a beautiful city. How do we address that? Go ahead, Edmond.
Can I stick up into that?
Sure, man.
It really touches me, right? I never litter. I don't litter. I don't like to litter. Even
Neither
people
do
litter,
It gets under my
scold
skin.
them. Yeah, it gets under my skin. I think it's our culture. That is the main concern right here we have. The sanitation team can just pass through the street right away. As they left the corner, they're starting to go back on the street.
So we're talking about behavior change.
Yeah, I think it's just the culture that we need to try to educate, you know, and
civic pride.
Yeah, civic pride. That is the main thing. I think we need to find some way to get to to civic pride. Have everybody have a ethical, ethics.
Yeah.
And also, not to litter.
You have an ethical responsibility.
Correct. It's your environment.
Yeah.
Right. So
Actually, we are teaming up with Belize Tourism Board on a massive cleanup
river.
Type media blitz. To really get it in, it has to start at the schools.
Yeah.
Right? It has to start at the schools, and then the children, if you are able to change the mindset of our kids, they will take that message in home to the parents, and then you have these other advocates group that you are able to touch with. We have a lot of group, Oceana, our entire group in the city and in the country, but it's not only a city issue, it's on the roads. When you go on the roads, it's a countrywide issue, and we, as leaders of our city, has to take charge in changing the mindsets of do not litter.
I'm someone who cynical about a lot of things. I guess it just comes with my role as a media person. Right? And so I'm very adept at pointing out ironies because of that, right? Yeah. I look at Central American Boulevard, for instance, and all the beautiful greenery that's being planted on the islands, right? But right on either side, all the trash. I'm like, wow. So a lot of effort is being put into planting and grooming the island and the runabout and everything. But somebody rides past or drives past and tosses something out. It's almost as if something beautiful is right up next to something that, defiles it, so to speak.
Is there a mechanism for enforcement then? Because I know that we do have laws that we shouldn't be littering and we shouldn't be doing these things, but I know that for the general public, for the country itself, nobody really talks about enforcing these laws. Is that something that is conducted within your jurisdiction?
Yeah, there is a huge penalty for, I believe it's 2,000 for businesses and 500 individually. We have to enforce the laws on our books. And many times when we go to enforce, then you have the political pushback, but not to say we have to take ownership. The residents of the city have to take ownership of having a clean city, because you can't have a smart city which is a dirty city and environmentally unsound. We can't have that, and so along with BTB we'll begin to make the first steps in respect to the campaign in the schools, the campaign with the advocacy groups, having cleanup campaigns across the entire city. We clean up some abandoned lots, but it's a whole shift that needs to occur in Isani. And we are looking in discussing with local government and national government on how do we do the reform. Because I don't believe that we are able to push the resident if we have a system that doesn't reward cleaning in front of your property, having your house paint properly when you expand. You know, we have a system that when you, as a property owner, do improvement on your property, you are penalized. You are not rewarded. It should be, if you do this around your property, your drain, keep clean, paint your house frequently, you do expansion, that should be a credit.
I'm supposed to get a flying.
You're supposed to get a credit. You're supposed to. Yes, you should. I'm not. The abandoned lots property owners should be taxed highest. And when we go to clean that property, it should be a heavy fee placed on that abandoned lot until it reaches a point where we have to repurpose it, acquire it, whatever we have to do.
I have two observations. Two observations that I've long since made and come to. Perhaps this is where I can openly discuss it with you guys, right? I look at a certain area of Farbers Road, and if we're talking about derelict vehicles and the removal of derelict vehicles, man, there's an entire stretch on Farbers Road where I don't know what kind of wall I live in.
What would you do with it all, would be my question.
So that's my first thing, right? So I'm certain that there's some kind of policy or something on the books that says we need to be able to address this kind of a situation. I don't know what the pushback would be, but I've seen successive municipal administrations come and go, and still Farbers Road remains the same. Then I look at my community. There's a stretch of land that's overgrown. Right? I don't know if or who the owners are and if there's any tax being paid on the property or whatever. I know from I was a child that thing has been overgrown, well over 30 some odd years. Still to this day it's overgrown. And not only does it create a hazard for persons who are traversing that area, right? But I'm almost certain that if we had certain policies or we were enforcing certain policies that comes to land use and what have you, that something should have been done about that by now. I look at, for instance, an example. I visited Taiwan several years ago, and they are strict on certain things. If you acquire a piece of land, you are given a certain time span within which to develop it. And so you fall short of that, that can be taken away from you by the state and repurposed, right? You can't sit down and speculate on a thing for 13 years figuring that, oh, my 10-year plan or so is that down the road the value goes up and I'll get more for it. But until then, it's the responsibility of the state or the municipality to clean it up or to... I have an issue with that.
The laws obviously are antiquated that we have on our books, because when we're dealing with abandoned lots, it takes it has to be where the property owner is not paying the property tax. That is the only way we can act, where we take it to the court and have it auctioned off. That takes a long while. That takes a very long process. Roughly sometimes between 5 years. So we need reform in respect to some of the laws that we have on our books. And I hear you speak on the Farbers Road matter. It's not like we haven't been removing derelict vehicles, but derelict vehicles is like a nightmare.
It's a continuous. So you move there.
We move. As we move, so another one created. So our traffic committee has been looking at Farbers Road. We have a traffic committee that looks at how we could remedy that situation, because clearly Farbers Road has become one of the main thoroughfares for the big container trucks coming into the city and accessing the port. And that area is becoming very dangerous for pedestrians. And we are looking on it from that point of view, and I believe they had given us recommendations in respect to what we will do with Farbers Road. It either becomes Parking, because we have identified parking along the entire stretch that can be utilized off-road.
Yeah.
And it becomes a no parking zone. And we have the enforcement team up and down on that street. And that
it's a 2-lane street, right? Because sometimes I have to wander.
It's up there, yeah.
I don't live. I have to ask because with the double parking and everything, sometimes I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, but all of these things, these stuff are in the pipeline, and but we have to be solution driven.
Yeah.
And look at the needs of the residents. The residents have been complaining about Farbers Road. We can't sit here as a city council, Kaya, and do not meet the needs of the residents of that area.
Yeah, I think when we talk about Farbers Road, it raises the issue of these community mechanics who start up shop right at their residence. And this is one of the things on the campaign trail that our residents have been complaining about because they take up the parking on the streets. They have oil on the streets. The place is left very nasty. So as a council, in these 3 years, in this term, that is one of the things that we want to nip in the bud and really deal with, because it really makes the quality of life for the residents in that area.
But is it do they have business license? Are they just working out of their homes, out of their home garages? Is that something that you're seeing as well?
It varies. Some of them do, some of them don't.
They have trade license.
They have trade license.
So you can attack from the trade license end, or you can look at how you regulate the Farbers Road traffic.
I'm thinking it does not matter what trade license you have or don't have. When you leave a vehicle there for an inordinate period of time, it inconveniences me as a pedestrian, a cyclist, or a motorist, because it doesn't belong there for a fixed period, right? So I think that's how I look at those situations, right? The thoroughfare should be clean and free of any obstruction, especially if you're looking at Farbers Road, you have all of that 18-wheelers. And they have to be navigating vehicles that are there from God knows how long. It defeats the purpose and it becomes a traffic safety or a road safety issue.
As we are coming down to the wire of our conversation, I just have one question, right? And as the newly elected council, sell Belize City to me. I don't live here. Mayor has been trying to sell Belize City to me for the past 3 years, can't do it yet. Tell me, as a non-citizen or as a tourist, why should I come to visit Belize City? What is there to do here?
Or relocate.
We're not a relocate. Why Belize City? What is there to do here? Why should I come here?
I haven't convinced you, so I'll have them go first. I'll have Kwan and Elud, but there's so much happening in Belize City. You can't find a better coastal town than city than Belize City, man. Where you live in Belmopan?
Look at that.
This is Belize City is the commercial capital of the country. Clearly, it's the hub of the financial country. It is where entertainment is. You can never say it is a place that have restaurants all across. You can have the high-end restaurants. You can have the middle-income restaurants. You have the low income, and which are some of the best foods all across this entire country. Belize City has a rich mix, right, of culture, people, wide mix of the Hispanics and the Garifunas and the Creoles, the music here in the city, the nightlife here in the city. I don't see any other city I would rather live. Belmopan City.
You know what? Can somebody else take this away from him, please?
I think you should want to move to Belize City, just given the fact that we are the most progressive municipality in the country. I think we could all agree on that, right? There is so much happening in Belize City today, and there is even more to come, right? And so I promise you. It'll be the best decision you've ever made.
Kaya,
yes.
I think both Mayor and Elud really said it. Well, this is the most progressive city in the entire country, I believe. coming into Belize City, I mean, you really feel like you're coming to somewhere international, coming from our district. You know, you get into the city and we have, you know, the streets, most of the streets are better here for us to drive on, or most of our residents have a quality of life because the municipality is working for them. So, yeah.
Well, I think that Belize City is will always remain the commercial hub of the country. All the banking, the financial institutions, the commercials, the port, different things are happening in the Belize City. And the most of we have a very, very friendly municipal government, right? That we will assist entrepreneurs, to promote, protect our citizens.
Okay.
So I think you should move to Belize City.
We'll try again next time. No, but I do want to say thank you all so much for coming on this morning. Congratulations once again to all of you. And we are wait for the motorcade, right, Isani?
Yes. We're waiting for the final number.
Yes. Well, Isani will have those numbers for us in our newscast tonight.
Hopefully they're done tallying by then.
But we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll have the Kidney Association next. So don't go away.